Peace. Zulu King L1 here with a brand new podcast on street organizations. I just want to give a shout out to all my listeners. Peace, love, respect, for taking your time out to tune into the podcast, Hip Hop Construction, where we build on hip hop, sports, street life, various things that, affect urban youth, urban adults, urban culture. So, just keep checking in, build with the brother, reach out to me on Twitter, and let's build. Peace. So, street organizations, they're in every urban community, right? They're in every hood across America. These street organizations that were founded in the hoods are now worldwide. And some of these street organizations are doing some real bad things in the community. And some of these street organizations do some good things in the community at times. So, let's not just focus on the negativity. Let's also look at some positive things when we're dealing with street organizations and the movements that are growing steadily. I think that, gang culture, so-called gang culture, has been popularized with hip-hop. And it's ironic because hip-hop was really founded to redirect the energy of these street youth, these street organizations. And, when we look at the Black Spades and we look at the Zulu Nation, we see these street organizations that were out during the late 60s, early 70s in the Bronx, New York. They were out there in the streets, clicked up, mobbed up, doing some things that they shouldn't be doing. They had a certain level of respect and fear from the community. And not all of them were bad, and at that time I don't think it was more so about killings. It was about familyhood. And that's something that we don't look at when we look at street organizations. We don't look at the members and say, this young brother or sister was looking for a family. He was looking to establish an identity by joining this street organization. We automatically point the finger at that brother or sister and we say, nah, he out there trying to live foul. He out there trying to hurt people. He out there trying to promote genocide. We also got to look at the fact that that particular brother or sister may not have a strong family, and he may be looking for a role model to show him the way. And there's also the flip side, the negative side, where yes, some people come in with the bad intentions. Some people are in it for the fame, or as in the Zulu Nation we called it years ago, excuse my language, the 3 Ps, where people join gangs for the 3 Ps were pussy, props, and protection. And that's what some young brothers join gangs for those 3 things. They want to be protected by the gang. They want the props, they want the fame, they want the spotlight and the attention that the gangs may give you. And sometimes they want the pussy, they want the sisters, they want the women. And that's no disrespect to the sisters and the queens when I use that language, pardon self. But this is what the mentality of the young brothers are. They think that they're gonna get, they're gonna get the women, And in some cases, you see, many women are attracted to the thugsters, the gangsters, or the so-called gangsters, let's say. So, when I was a youth, MS-13 was relevant in our community, which was a Salvadorian gang. And, mostly filled with Central Americans. So as a Puerto Rican youth, I didn't identify with that. That was something that, had no interest to me. But what did affect me was that these guys were out there and assuming that all Puerto Ricans were Latin Kings or Nietas, which were 2 street organizations. And they would look at us and say, oh, he's Puerto Rican, so he got to be down with the Latin Kings or he got to be down with the Nietas. Let's bang him out. And that wasn't the case, in certain communities, that didn't even have the almighty Latin King Queen Nation organized, or La Asociación Nieta, um, established in the community. So that's where I fell in as a youth. People were out there running around with MS-13, and they were shooting at dudes that were non-gang affiliated, running up on people with machetes. So it was pretty dangerous out in Huntington Station. This was the experience that the young brothers and sisters was dealing with in our community. And at the time when I was coming up, there wasn't no major gang other than MS-13 out there in the community. There wasn't no Bloods, there wasn't no Crip, there wasn't no Latin Kings in my community. Just a few maybe, and a few Nietas that weren't really organized. There was just a few sprinkled members of some people that were coming back from Riverhead County Jail. And so me and my crew, dudes that I ran with, we weren't into gang banging. We were, just into chilling. I don't want to say partying and bullshit, but yeah, I guess that's what it was. Just cooling out, having a good time. So we was in the streets late night, and we wasn't no suckers, nor were we no killers, but we was running the streets and acting a fool. And so we've had some certain experiences where MS-13 used to chase us around, shoot at us, run up on us with machetes, things of that nature. And it was like, yo, man, it was crazy. It can make somebody fear for their life if you're not built a certain way. But when you're in the hood, you're like, you've seen it all. You've seen violence. You've seen gun violence. You've seen stabbings. You've seen people get jumped. So you're kind of like built for it. You've seen violence at a high level. So, it kind of pushes you into this position where, you're like, I gotta be able to survive. That's your goal as a youth in the hood. You gotta survive. And sometimes you gotta survive by any means. So I understand why some people feel the need to carry an illegal firearm. That wasn't my thing when I was a youth. I didn't play with guns. But honestly, when I think back now, maybe I should have. Because there were critical times where I needed one. And I never had one. But, thank the Almighty that, I was able to resist that temptation of falling into that trap where I needed firearms and I needed a gang to protect me. I just felt, my decision was, I'm not going to be in the streets that much then. If it's going to be like that, where I go out 1, 2, 3 in the morning and I got to watch my step, then you know what? I'm going to just stay more local, cool out with some friends at their crib, go to less parties, to deal with less bullshit. So that was my thing. But for some people, it wasn't their thing. They couldn't adjust. They had to be in the streets. They needed to be in the streets. Some people were hustling. Some people trying to make money. Some people trying to feed themselves. I knew kids that were, 18 years old that had no parents their whole life, and they come up poor and they didn't have nothing. And hustling was the only way for them to feed themselves. So they were in the streets and they had no choice. And these were the kids that gravitated towards telling me down the line, yo, I want to be a Latin King. I want to be Blood. I want to be Crip. So I understood what was the driving force in my community for some people to want to be in a street organization. Come down, as time moved on, these street organizations started to really influence people in a negative way. People were very threatened, and that was it. People came to the decision, like enough of the nonsense. I'm banging out. Whoever comes at me, we're gonna have to mob up, and we're going to war, and we're gonna play for keeps. So a lot of brothers that I knew, took it to the guns, and started organizing and being a part of street organizations. This is the same time where I started to develop my identity and join the Zulu Nation as well. So I wanted to redirect that energy into something positive rather than negative. And the reason why I chose joining the Zulu Nation over becoming a Latin King or becoming a part of Nieta or, maybe some other street organizations was the fact that I was like, all right, I'm 18 years old now. I want to do something with my life. In my mind, how I saw the street organizations were, I saw it as a trap to fail. And I saw myself as a wild 18-year-old that didn't care much, but also was raised well by a mother that loved me very well. And I didn't want to disappoint my mother. I wanted to succeed because I know she came from the bottom and she strived to do her best. So I wanted to also do well for myself. During that time, I decided as a youth, I'm like, I want to look at this like, right now I'm 18, I could be a part of anything. But when I'm 28, when I'm 30, will I still want to be a part of this gang? And I thought to myself, the Zulu Nation seems like something I could grow with. It's not based on negativity. So that's why I grew into the Zulu Nation and felt like it had a place for me. And that's why I made that decision. A lot of youngsters that I knew, peers of mine, came in and they joined the Latin Kings. You know, that they were prideful Puerto Rican brothers. They wanted to be a part of that identity. They thought that they were Latin Kings. They wanted to be a part of that. And, you know, they went and made that move. And, you know, we had a little bit of unity with them for several years. You know, it was kind of cool to have unity with another street organization. But when you become too mixy with people, you know, you get involved with people's drama. You get involved with the crew's drama. And that's not a good thing, you know. Unity is a great thing, but being too close to another organization is a bad thing, because then it becomes, you know, you have an opinion on their lifestyle, they have an opinion on your lifestyle, and then you have members that may not necessarily like other members. Street organizations are, for the most part, to me, it's not too bad to be a part of a street organization if you have a strong identity as a young man or young sister. If you know who you are when you come into that street organization and you know why you joined, you should be good and you should be strong enough to withstand being directed in a negative way. You know, you should be able to say, nah, I ain't gonna bang on that person didn't do nothing. You should be able to have a strong enough voice and strong enough character to know when to not do the wrong thing. Because people make bad decisions, and that's the problem with street organizations. People don't think. The young brothers and sisters do not think what the repercussions are. They think about the first step, they don't think about the second step, the third step, and what's going to come back after all this is done. It's easy when somebody disrespects you to get on the phone, hit people up, mob up, and jump somebody. It's not easy when that group of people catch you slipping at a pizzeria or coming at a McDonald's or leaving the store with your girl or your moms or your little baby bro or little baby sis, and they run up on you and jump you, stab you, shoot you, you know. And that's the cycle that we live in, and that's the dangers of being a part of the street organizations. What you do as a member of a street organization may not necessarily be bad, but when you got people in your crew, people in your street organization doing foul things, you may have to pay for what somebody else did. I know dudes in my community that been shot because they man did something crazy. And that happens very often. You are guilty by association sometimes. So sometimes you're going to pay for what one of your homies did. And that is a great danger in being in a gang. Something I've discussed with the Zulu Nation members very often throughout the years. You know, watch how you carry yourself, because it's a reflection of all the membership. You know, just like when one member of an organization does something good, sometimes the whole crew gets the credit. You know, somebody may be super thorough, super gangster, super gooned up, and his respect may carry over into the street organization's respect.